Hey, how's everyone doing today? If you don't know me, my name is Austin Wood. I am newer to cybersecurity. I've been studying for about the last year currently. I attended a program called Wazoo, where I made a lot of really good connections, and I really just enjoyed everything to do with TryHackMe once I was introduced to it. So I kind of fell deeper and deeper into it. I am by trade technically still truck driver, Class A. So I wanted to go ahead and say that to say that if, whatever your trade is, if cybersecurity interests you, technology interests you, put the work in, transition, just do it. There's nothing else to it. You got to be willing to do the hard work, though, of course, and the studying and all that. But don't let anybody tell you that you can't do this off of what your trade is currently. I've heard success stories from people in the restaurant industries, trucking industries, pretty much everywhere, every type of industry and every facet of life that you can think of. So, don't be discouraged by any means whatsoever when it comes to that. Just go ahead and put the work in. So, yeah, that's me. I'm Austin. Nice to meet you. If you have any comments or anything to say, go ahead, throw them down below. Hit that sub button. You know what to do. And let's jump right into it. Yeah, so I wanted to start with explaining how to connect to TryHackMe servers via OpenVPN if you've never done it before. So on TryHackMe, you can utilize their attack boxes, but in my opinion, it's much smoother and just better in general because you have all your own tools and stuff like that if you connect your own Kali box to it. So in order to do that, we're just going to come up here to this icon and then click Access. And this will bring us to this page. We'll select our server, we will download our certificate file and save it. So once you have that done, you can just go ahead and go over to your downloads and it should be there. Yeah, you see I have 2 copies now. So what I generally do from here is create a directory within my documents and name it TryHackMe. If you don't know how to do that, you can just move into your documents, mkdir, and then name it TryHackMe. So then I'll go back over to my downloads and I will move this, which you can simply just do with an mv command and .openvpn, and then you can do something like your direct path in to that, and it should move it for you just in case you didn't know how to do it. So the reason why I do that is it keeps it a bit more organized and easier for me to find things and know where everything's just going to be at, right? That's a personal thing. If you don't want to do that, that's totally fine. Nothing against it whatsoever. So let's go ahead and move back into our documents, TryHackMe. Now, the next thing I do is, you can see I have a few machines in here. I've had should be a bunch more, but I've had to wipe this box a couple times because sometimes in this industry you're going to break a VM or two. It's what we do. It's what they're for, right? That's what snapshots are for, So yeah, as you can see, the room that I want to do is I don't have a directory for it, so we're going to create one. But let's jump over to TryHackMe first and grab this machine. So this is the machine that we're going to want to do, and you can see here that I'm red, so I can't access the machine currently. I already booted it up because it takes a little while to boot up. So normally you would come down here, you would click Start Machine, and it would be good to go. So we need to go ahead and get logged into the VPN like I was talking about earlier, and we'll do that. So I'm just going to go in here to where my file is stored, my document for my OpenVPN. And if you don't have OpenVPN already installed, it would be on Kali sudo git install open. Oh no, sudo. Sorry about that. Sudo apt install open VPN on Kali, and I already have it, so it's not gonna install it. So yeah, it's just a sudo apt install OpenVPN on Kali if you do not have OpenVPN installed already. So then we're just gonna run sudo OpenVPN and tab finish out for the documents, and boom. Now, Kali has this cool little feature. It might be new, it might have been old, and I just never noticed it before. But I noticed it very recently, where now you can see down here that I'm connected to VPN secured down here at the bottom, which is really cool because basically, you know, sometimes if you've ever done any of these boxes or anything like that, when you're trying to get like a reverse shell or something, you need your IP address. So yeah, this is the tunnel 0 IP address. This is the one IP address you would use for any reverse shells. I'm not worried about showing any of this because I'm on a VM, so it's not that big of a deal. But let's go ahead and pop back over here and refresh this page. Okay, so now you see it's green and we're connected and it's the same number as down here. Sweet, we're good to go on that front. We have our box totally opened up. So we have this machine anonymous open, and all it says is try to get the two flags, root the machine, improve your understanding of the fundamentals. This is a virtual machine meant for beginners. Acquiring both flags will require some basic knowledge of Linux and privilege escalations. Yes, so this is a medium machine, but it's the easiest medium machine that I have run across personally. So yeah, it's a very, very based off of your fundamentals. It really wants to know that you understand that. So let's go ahead and head down here and check out what some of the questions are. Enumerate the machine, how many ports are open, what service is running on port 21, what service is running on ports 139 and 445. There's a share on the user's computer. What's it called? User.txt and root.txt. Okay, so off the bat, with some basic knowledge that we've gathered over time, and if you don't know this, it's okay. It takes time for your brain to kind of collect everything. Since I've started studying for cybersecurity, it's been like trying to take in, I think some people would say like a water hose. I feel like it's more like a waterfall that you're trying to absorb. So, you gotta just remember and be okay with yourself. But what service is running on port 21? Usually running on port 21 would be an FTP service. And so it said there's a share on the user's computer. We also have port 445 in here. So these usually have to do with an SMB server. So off the bat, just from reading the questions, we got that, because of general knowledge that we've acquired over time. Now, enumerate the machine, how many ports are open. Okay, that's where we're gonna go ahead and start at. Let's grab this IP address here. And I like to ping the IP address first, just to make sure the server is nice and good and up and running. Okay, so next we're going to run an nmap scan, which is just a port scanner to tell us what ports might be open, services might be running. It's going to probe the network basically externally, and let us see if it can find anything. Now, when I run nmap on TryHackMe boxes, I like to run it with the flag A, VV, and OA, and I'll explain more in detail why. But first, it looks like let's go ahead and make our the box named anonymous. Let's go ahead and make our directory to put all this stuff into, so that way we don't get it lost. Because see, if I wasn't keeping all of this in different directories, I'd have a whole lot of stuff cluttered in here, wouldn't I? So let's go ahead and make a directory to put that into. Okay. So we have our directory now. I'm going to go ahead and start enumerating the server, but I want to show you first, if you didn't know what man does. Man is basically like a manual, so you can man any a lot of the commands, not all of them, and get a full briefing of everything that that you could possibly use. So if we were to do something like man in map and pipe it into less, I believe, yeah, we could get the back end of it, stuff like that, or we could we could grep this also and pull out some useful information. So just understand that you can pipe man into certain situations where you can pull out and search for information that you would like to find easily. But there's also, generally speaking, you can do like the command with tac help, and this will give you a short little list of like important information that you would need to know. So this is to better understand your tools and what you're actually doing. So I run attack aid, generally speaking, because it runs OS detection, version detection, scripts, basic script scanning, and trace route. Usually I would run this also with a TAC, which would run all 65,000 ports basically. But for the sake of time, I'm not going to do that today because, yeah, I know that I don't need to do that. So we're also going to run it with a VV, like I said, which will be verbose mode so that we can see what's actually going on. And then we're also going to run it with a O, capital A, which is going to output 3 major formats. So yeah, let's go ahead and do that. So we always run in map with sudo just to make sure that it has administrative privileges, because certain scans need administrative privileges to run properly. So I just am going to name it scans, and then we need to throw the IP in there, and that looks good. Let's go ahead and run it. So as you can see, the reason why I run it with verbose is it's already discovered the ports that it's going to discover, and we can see there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we can now answer this question. And if I wouldn't have ran it with verbose, I wouldn't have been able to answer that already. But also, there's a chance that it might not have discovered all ports that fast, and that could have been wrong. So I could have just waited for the test to finish, and then I would know how many ports were on here. So we're waiting. The reason why I ran, like I said, without the TAC is for the sake of time. So instead of scanning every port possible, that scan would have taken a significant amount of time, and now we already have our scan back. So what I generally like to do is, now that I've already used the verbose information that I wanted, I'll generally check to make sure my scans are good, then I'll clear the screen, and then I'll cat my scan.inmap. And it'll just clean up a little bit of that clutter, so that way I don't got to look at all of it. Okay, so we were right about the FTP server, and you can see that here. There's an SSH server running for us to be able to get into. And then if you continue down, we got port 139 and 445 running Samba SMB. Okay, cool. So looking at the FTP, if we look at the second line here, anonymous FTP login allowed. Okay, so nice. We'll go ahead and we'll log into that anonymously, but we also have an SMB here, so I can use a tool called enum for Linux to enumerate that SMB server, and that might take a second, so I'll go ahead and start that off on another terminal, so that a way I can go ahead and log into the FTP and not have to worry about that. Matter of fact, I'm going to log into the FTP on a different terminal also, so that way I can still have my nmap scan to look at if I need to refer back to it for any kind of information. And let's just go ahead and cd into that directory, so because FTPs you can pull down and put up information, so I have a general idea that we're going to be pulling something off of that, so I want to go ahead and make sure that I'm putting it into the area where I know I can find it. So let's do the FTP Anonymous login. If you don't know, and you need to be aware of this, FTP comes with an anonymous login by default, and you need to remove that for security purposes, generally speaking. So all we do is we just put FTP Anonymous @ and then the IP address, and it's going to ask for a password. We just press enter, and we are in. So we're seeing a directory of scripts here, and we have full privileges to go into it. So let's go ahead and do that. If you've never been inside an FTP server before, it operates almost like a command line terminal. You're best going and just pulling up some like FTP cheat sheets, and you'll be good there. It's not difficult at all. So let's go ahead and look. Okay, so we've got some stuff in here. We've got a clean.sh. We've got a remove file log, remove files.log. Got a to-do text. This clean.sh is already interesting because that is a script, and it does have execute, read, write privileges. So let's go ahead and pull this stuff down off the server. So we'll get clean.sh, and looks like it was good. We'll get removed files.log. Looks like it was good, and we'll get to do .text, and now we should have all of those off of the server. So again, I'm going to leave my FTP login and go ahead and cd into this directory again. Whoop. And yeah, let's take a look. So if I cat clean.sh and take a look at it, yes, it is a script running, and it basically says echo nothing to delete into this removed files.log, and if it finds anything in this file, remove it, and then remove file and what file it removes, basically. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at that remove file.log. Cat remove file.log. Okay, so it looks like it's just running constantly, and it's not really removing anything. And let's cat the to-do.text. I really need to disable the anonymous login. It's really not safe. We just had this conversation. So yeah. But I am interested in this clean.sh. The reason being is because if this is executing like we think it is, it's on a cron job, which means that we can abuse this. I'm gonna hop over here real quick and see. We've enumerated the SMB quite a bit. Okay, we have the shares. Okay, so it looks like a shares of pics to answer this question. All right, so we now have most of the answers except for the last two that we're looking for here. So what I was saying about this script is we can pull and we can put things back up in the FTP server. So we might be able to abuse this cron job that's running in the background. So I'm going to open that up in, I'm going to open it up in VS Code. And boom, here it is. Okay. Yeah, so this is where we're going to do a little bit of just quick Googling, basically, for a reverse shell. It's probably going to end up pulling off of Payloadallthethings and reverse shell. And Pentest Monkey, Payloadallthethings, reverse shell. Okay, so if we look at this, it is running a bash interpreter, so we're going to run a bash script with it. So if you don't know what Payloadallthethings is, I'll link it down below. Check it out. Amazing. Just amazing. It's good for reverse shells and spawning a TTY shells and pretty much almost any shell you can think of is going to be in here. So. and we're going to want a bash TCP shell. So we'll just grab this first line, and then I'll show you how to edit it. So each one of these lines are a different shell that you can get, and then you can see it'll say here victim. You'll send this to the victim, and then the listener. This is how you'll fire up the listener with netcat. So just read into it, and you'll figure it out. So we're gonna we took and copied that shell though, so I'm gonna remove everything except for the shebang up here, because this tells what the interpreter is. I like to go on port 8080 because I just enjoy using that. And then we need to put our IP. Remember, I said that it's this down here, so I don't need to go into the terminal and punch in IPA or any of that. Okay, so that should be our reverse shell. That easy. So we need to put it back up in the server now, and we need to open a netcat listener. So let's go ahead and cat this to make sure. Yep, we got our reverse shell running nice and good. So let's go ahead and open up a netcat listener. So I'm going to run netcat with LVNP, and that's basically for listen, verbose, the port number, and what was can't remember off the top of my head. I think the N is for only accepting an IP address, not a DNS name. Let's see here. Numeric only IP addresses, no DNS. Yeah. So read these. They help out quite a lot. So netcat LVNP 8080, because that's the port we're going to listen on. Okay, so we're now actively listening on that port. We're going to go ahead and we're done with the SMB, so we can clear this out and actually exit out of it entirely. We still have our FTP server up, so let's see. We are in, you can look here and see we are in our Anonymous. So if I ls here, oh, we got timed out. Let's just easy enough to log back into. Okay, so if we look here, right, we can see clean.sh. We can see the size is 314. We can also see the privileges here, and I'm glad that I just noticed that, because we could have messed this up pretty bad. We have to give it the privileges, okay? So I got a little bit ahead of myself here. CD into documents, TryHackMe Anonymous, ls tac-l, clean, and yeah, we gotta give it these privileges, right? And if I look at these privileges, it is read, write, execute, read, execute, read, write, execute. Okay, I'm gonna shorthand this with chmod 757, and that should give it the same. Boom. Okay. Now what I just did was change the permissions on this file, and I shorthand it with 757. This is octal notation. You can just Google octal notation, Linux, and you'll come up with this list. Oh yeah, this list here. So basically, here it is. The first one is going to be the user, the second one's going to be the group, and the third one is going to be for other. So if I wanted to apply everything for the user, nothing for the group, and nothing for the user's permissions, I would go 700. If I wanted to give say for whatever reason, the user all the permissions, the group read only, and the everybody else read and write permissions, I would go with a 7, 4, and a 6. So hopefully that explains it a little bit. Just go to Google and type in octal notation Linux, and you can see how easy it was to pull up. And I would save a copy of that. So like I said, we now have, okay, now it has the proper permissions. So we can jump back over to the FTP and put clean.sh back in the server. It looks like it transferred decently. And okay, so you can see how the size moved from 314 to 54. That means that we are good. We're good to go. So I want to say here for anybody that's, oh, we already have the shell. Okay, we're in. I want to say here for anybody that's wondering, there is exploits with cron jobs that you can abuse to go ahead and add like another root user. And I tested this before with this box. It didn't work. It didn't, even though I have write privileges to the password, the etc password, it still didn't allow me to add a new root user to escalate, because otherwise I would have escalated straight to root user here. With that being said, cron jobs are out. No privilege escalation based off of cron jobs. Okay, so we have our first our first user.txt here, our flag that we need, and there it is. Let's go ahead and throw that in there, and let's move on. All right, so there's a methodology of privilege escalation once you're in a box. The first thing that I always usually do is go ahead and get a full TTY shell, because there's going to be a lot of stuff that I won't be able to do without a full TTY shell. So if I go full TTY shell upgrade in Google, very simple, and I can grab this. Everybody's seen this line before that's ever done privilege escalation. I just don't want to have to type it out, to be honest with you. And I can throw this in here and let's see what it does. Okay, so still no full TTY, but I can background this and I should be able to go STTY raw echo and foreground it again. And I think it's still broken. Yeah, we're still broken. But I played around with this a while earlier, and if I bin bash, I think we will now have a full, yep. Now we have full TTY. So all shells are different to try to stabilize, right? And clear's not going to work. All shells are different to try to stabilize. You kind of got to play around with them. The problem is this is where, like, real world scenario, you might get kicked out of the box, lose your foothold, have a problem. With the TryHackMe box, we don't have to worry about that so much, so we can just fire away and try to figure out what stabilizes the shell. This is what I found works to stabilize the shell. I ran my Python import PTY, and then I backgrounded netcat and did the STT raw echo and foregrounded netcat. And then this time, usually that does it for me, but this time I ended up having to do a bin bash also. And that's the exact order that I had to do it in. I did testing where I bin bashed first, and then did the Python import PTY, but that didn't work for some reason. So this is what I ended up having to do. So I have a certain methodology that I follow once I'm in a machine and TryHackMe, and usually it'll follow along the lines of the first thing I'll do is sudo tac L. Now, if I press this, I don't know the password, so I'm not going to be able to see any kind of sudo permissions, because they would easily allow me to just jump straight to root at this point in time. The next thing I can do is cat etc shadow. Oh, it's a mistype on my part. Permission denied. Okay. So let's go ahead and cat etc password. We can do that. Now I'm going to tell you, so the reason why I did these two things in my methodology is because if you can add something to the shadow file, you can change a password, you can rehash it with open SSL, I think, and then just name like a password. And nope, I did it wrong. Okay. So I left off the password command. That's my fault. My brain does not fit everything in it, unfortunately. certain things get pushed around. So yeah, so you can rehash this and throw it into the etc shadow file and change a password, or you could sometimes get away with throwing it into the straight up password and changing that. But with this box, we can't really we can't seem to edit either one of those to abuse that escalation. So we're going to go ahead instead, and we're going to do what I would do next, look for SUIDs. And to do that, I do find dot, well, let's make sure we're in the root first. Okay. Find dot permissions, and then 4,000, and then let's go to greater than /dev null. Okay, so we're using the find command. We're searching everything pretty much from the root directory. We're searching for permissions of 4,000. That's going to bring up those S's, those special permissions. And then to dev null, we're going to write all errors into the dev null file so that it doesn't show up on our screen pretty much. And if I did it right, looks like I did. Okay, so now we have all of our special permissions folders. And if you don't know what a SUID is it's basically like you can run that at escalated pseudo privileges. So from experience, we dig through here and we look, and we go to a website called GTFO Bins. Again, I will link it down in the description. And GTFO Bins is just like this really cool place where we can go and we can type things in. Like if you see let's say ping, you see this ping command here. If I wanted to try to find like a escalation from ping, if fping and hping3 that I could do with a pseudo escalation or file reader, I could get a shell, or I could SUID or pseudo privileges to abuse to escalate from here, but they don't have just ping or ping 6. So now that I've kind of found some SUID files, I just at this point would go through them, and over time things will start sticking out to you that you'll be able to abuse. Like this env is what I know. Starting off though, you're gonna have to read through these, and you're gonna have to punch them all in. I've done it over and over again. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But if we go ahead and we use the env, and then we want the SUID because that's what we're doing. So if the binary has the SUID bit set, it does not drop the elevated privileges and may be abused to access the file system. Escalate or maintain privilege access as a SUID backdoor. If it is used to run sh-tac-p, omit the tac-p argument on systems like Debian, Stretch, that allow the default sh to run with SUID privileges. Okay, so basically it's telling us, right, we can grab this, right? We don't have pseudo privileges, so if we were to try to sudo this, it would ask for a password. We wouldn't be able to do it. We are on a Debian distribution, Kali, so we're going to omit the tac-p, and we're going to grab that. We're going to throw it in here and see what happens, basically. And no such file or directory. Okay, so this is why reading is important. No such file or directory. So let's go ahead. Hey, it's me from the future. My video kind of messed up here, so it's going to kind of like chop. And yeah, I just wanted to let you know. So I hope you guys are enjoying, and bye. Okay, so I think I can run a locate, and then we're looking for env. Okay. Yeah, this is what we're looking for right here, I'm pretty sure. Okay. Let's cd into user bin and run it again. It didn't work though. And now our shell is unstable. What if can I bin bash this? Oh, okay, yeah, it's broken like crazy. No, we need another forward bin. Fix? Ah, yeah, it fixed it. Okay. Okay, we need to get this command again now. Maybe we add the P? That worked. Okay, we needed the P. It said here, omit the P argument on systems like Debian. We're on a Debian, we're on Kali, so I don't know, it's a Debian kernel. I don't know what's up with that. But we got root. That's really all that matters, right? Okay. CD into root. And there it is. Let's grab that. Oh, not paste. Copy. And there we have it. We're done. Okay. So, yeah, if you have any questions, don't be afraid to ask. Leave them in the comments. If you have any suggestions, which hopefully I would assume there's more of those than anything, which I absolutely love criticism and suggestions. So throw it in the comments. Please follow, please like, please share. I appreciate y'all. Thank you. Hopefully y'all have a wonderful day.